Why fighter aircraft acquired by Buhari's government have failed to stop insurgency and banditry. Buhari's government has purchased no fewer than 32 fighter aircraft for the military since 2015 when it came to power, while the Boko Haram insurgency, banditry, and herdsmen raged the country. Sahara reporters learned from military records that the fighter jets and helicopters within 6 years were purchased from Austria, Italy, Pakistan, Russia, and the United States. The 32 total platforms exclude the 12 Super Tucano fight aircraft still expected from the United States, which would start arriving from June 2021 to the presidency earlier this month. However, despite the increasing fighter aircraft purchased by the government, the security situation in the country has worsened, with Boko Haram developing a more deadly faction, Islamic State West African province fighters, both of whom have continued to attack towns and communities in the highly vulnerable Borno and Yobe states. For the record, the latest arrival of military aircraft into the country was last week when 3 F-17 Thunder fighter jets from Pakistan arrived in Nigeria, and they purchased 3 F-17 for $184 million deal. And the fighter jets are supersonic aircraft that can perform day and night all-weather air-to-air and air-to-ground missions, including strategic strike and interdiction. So what do we do with such information? You're giving details of all these things, but then they're not working. But the outflow from the government, from the country's purse, is literally getting bigger and bigger. That's what the comments say. The first person here says, you seriously think that they bought it to combat terrorists? You must be joking. They're prepared to go to another war to conquer Nigeria for Fulani to take over. That's why they attack people that dare defend land from terrorists to take over. But they can't. They really can't. But then again, being, in that position of power, they have to be careful because they can literally just trigger. That's the word. Especially with news and all that. It can trigger people, and obviously Nigeria is already divided, so it wouldn't necessarily take much for us to even get into a war because, again, we're not the only stakeholders, unfortunately. Someone says, we bought them to keep this great nation one entity, no retreat, no surrender. If you know, you know. God bless Muhammadu Buhari. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. All right. Will you come and make everything better for us? Exactly. APC and his government will never kill bandits or terrorists from the north because they don't want to go against Ahmadu Bello and their grandfather. But anyway, I don't understand any context to that. Please put what you think about that. Someone says they are preparing for a second Biafra war that will end Nigeria. I mean, it's not far-fetched because in the last from 2015, it's almost 6 years now, and that's all they could have acquired. I mean, of course, these things are expensive and all that, but then if you hear the budgets and the salaries that they have, it's incomparable to to how much they're spending on these firefighter jets and all that. But again, it's ineffective, and the people of Nigeria are quite. I mean, honestly, the people deserve the leadership that they get, because again, you can't be quiet when all these things are happening. Ignorance is absolutely your choice, and so if you're going to choose to be quiet and not necessarily take attention and take your force and fight, well, we're gonna have a war. It's likely. You can't. It's in a way inevitable, because again, the stakeholders are just not Nigerians, but non-Nigerians, and any other person that obviously wants to cash out from this corrupt nation. Another comment here says, "Do not worry, the evil one. They will be used at the right time. Keep on spewing division and hatred. By the time this US just strike, you will join your family in the US." Please, can't be making comments like this. Again, why I'm even more touching the subject is because the people are letting this happen. No one's asking questions. No one cares. And to be honest, the people get the leaders that they deserve. The leaders are a reflection of the people's values and all that. We've let things slide for too long, and we're trying to make sure that we do not let things slide. But everyone is tired, and we're going to learn it in a very, very harsh way. It takes two to tango. Sometimes, we have to accept accountability for allowing certain things to happen. And if the worst of the worst happens, we in a way enabled it to happen in the first place. So yeah, if people are saying that war is likely to happen, honestly, it's not a far-fetched idea. We've had it before, and these governments have proven that the you know the value of human life is absolutely, it's not even zero, it's below zero. So it's like these people will not be, they, whatever their agenda is, they will do anything they can to get. And unfortunately, in each of our tribes, there are sellers that will help enable and further their agenda, if you think so. But that's what I think. The main thing is, we are in a state of emergency again with the NSAS protest. As I've said, I think we need to learn that what the NSAS protest was about was that it was too late before we actually started protesting, because they'd already done their worst. They'd been killing people. The other, even other police divisions had been collecting bribes and all that. But then these things had been going on for years and years and years. Nothing happened, and it came to the absolute worst. And that is what is happening right now. If we do not stand up, we will get to a point where, what, that death that that everyone in Nigeria is afraid of, we will get to a point where we're not scared of death, and it will get to a point where we'll have war. And you know what? Would reap what we've sown. At the end of the day, it takes two to tango. You might have an absolutely incompetent government, but again, as a people, if you have let this government continue, you have emboldened them to violate you even more, and you cannot be surprised of the outcome. So again, by law, they are the ones who have the authority, but then the people also have the power. We have to take responsibility for that. It is not just the government, because again, no one is tying us. We are free to use our common sense, and yeah, it is what it is. Again, we already know that the cash flow of the government it's a bit wishy-washy and wonky, because nothing can be accounted for. But again, if we do not come out and ask these questions and literally show the government that we do not play, these things will continue to happen. And what will you do? What will you do? That's it. So again, if no one is willing to fight, well, we would all reap what we've sown and do whatever comes. But because at the end of the day, this fight is going to get harder because we've waited too long. Because why? They've committed too many atrocities. Again, there's just so many changes. We as a people are very, very flawed. Not that set of people in the world are flawed, but we just enable toxicity, we enable mediocrity, we enable hatred towards ourselves, we enable this thought and mentality of suffering and inflict on one another, where we are so selfish and that not even fight for ourselves, let alone our brothers. It's sad, but it is what it is. Put your in the comment section below. I personally believe that the people deserve a leadership that they get, and it is what it is. But I think, and don't forget to like and subscribe.